Hey YouTube, how's everybody on today? Saturday, March 15th, 2025. Oh my God. So I was out earlier driving and taking care of some business, and my son had to go into work. He works in a different area, which is actually a beautiful area. I'm actually headed his way now. It is a beautiful day, but so busy. I don't really know what was going on today, but I tell you what, out of all that busyness, I had to come back home about 1 p.m. I got out around 9 something. I had to come home about 1 p.m. and I took me a good nap after eating me some fruit, some green grapes, some strawberries, some blueberries that I had bought from the store. I just wanted like a fruit bowl, but I didn't want nobody else's fruit bowl. I wanted my own fruit bowl because I know the fruit that I love. I actually love cherries too, but I didn't see any cherries in our stores. Down south they have Kroger's, and here on the West Coast we have Fry's. It is the same store chain. It's the same store chain network. So pretty much when I moved here, I actually had to switch over apps from Kroger's from Tennessee to Fry's here in Arizona. And they told me, they said you need to update your app. When I tried to go into my phone and I tried to put in the store location for where I shop, they said, oh, this is Fry's. You need to update it to Fry's, although it is still under the umbrella of Kroger's, right? And so I don't know if y'all saw that. People don't even be knowing that you be recording, how they just jump out on you, not realizing that if something happened, I actually got evidence. Like they have no clue they are. So the things that some people do, like we really do self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm saying it right. But I am moseying along here. So I came home 1 p.m. and after eating my fruit, I ate a little bit of sushi and I just fell out. Y'all, when I tell y'all, have y'all ever had, and I had a dream, that was a repetition of another dream. Almost the same dream, same location. I don't know, maybe I will see this location at some point, but in my dream, we got some dream interpreters. Matter of fact, God actually has gifted some people with interpreting dreams. If somebody is a dream interpreter, please comment in my comment section. I'm going to tell you about it. It's only one section of the dream that stands out to me. And I noticed that I had actually done this before in the dream. There's a location in this dream. It almost looks like a school, high school, or a library. And then it almost looks like an airport. Now I have gone through the airport because the airport where I live is so close to where I am. So there are times that I actually go through the airport to get to another part of town. And those that know Phoenix, they know what I mean when I say that. But in my dream, there's a certain point that I get to in the dream, and this is what stands out. And God keep allowing me to see it, and I don't really know what it means, but it's almost like it needs to be interpreted. Sometimes I can figure out what it's saying, but then sometimes it's like way out of my reach of comprehension. I hadn't even asked God about it. I just decided I was going to tell y'all just now because it just hit me like, oh, I could actually share this. But in the dream, in a certain point that I get to a certain level of this area, and me circling around, going back around to where I come from. But in me getting to where I come from, circling back around, it's almost like a roller coaster. I have to go up, and the lane goes up in the sky, and it circles, and you come back down. It is so frightful in the dream because I know that there's a possibility something can happen to me while I'm going up in the sky, coming back down. And I'm driving this vehicle, but I'm saying to myself, girl, you can't lose control. Girl, you can't lose control. So that's the fear, that's the excitement, that's the heightened sense that I feel as I'm driving up this circle lane. It looks like a lane, but it goes up in the sky like a roller coaster, and it comes back down. You got to be skilled to do this, right? So as I'm going up, I come back down, and it's like everything is fine. I make it every single time. And then I don't wake up from the dream. No, it continues to go on. But today, as I had to go back through this loop again, my son showed up this time in my dream. And then another person who's very well known in the, I don't know if I want to say gospel industry or ministry industry. She's very well known. I loved her at one point in time in my life. Very well respected by some. She showed up in my dream, and she actually made a statement. And I did pay attention to the statement, and I won't say what she said, but maybe I need to visit that too, because she is known for speaking what thus said the Lord. So yes, she is a prophetess, and she's very well respected. But she showed up in my dream at the very end, and she turned around as if not talking directly to me, but I was in her presence. But she looked my way as if, I need you to hear this, but I'm not talking directly to you. You know how a person's not talking to you, but it's almost like they want you to be included in the conversation, but no, they really just want you to hear what they're saying. And I was supposed to grab it, and I shook my head, and I said, and I smiled with her, because as she was saying it, she was smiling too. And she was saying something about, oh no, and I'm just going to give you kind of a little bit of a statement. She was talking about somebody that she knew, and she said, I trust this person. She said, because you can bet your bottom dollar that whatever she says, it's going to happen, or she's going to see to it that it happens. So there was a trust in her statement about a particular person. It was a matter of trust. I don't really know. I'm going to go back and see if I can visit or remember specifically what statement she specifically made. I hope God brings it back to my remembrance so that I possibly can write it down, because when I woke up, I should have had my piece of paper and pen, and I should have wrote it down. They say when you have dreams like that, you're supposed to always have your piece of paper and pen. For those that are dreamers, this is what I was taught from a teenage girl. Always have your piece of paper and a pen, write it down, because you will forget, right? And I know God always bring it back to my remembrance, or he'll let me visit the dream again, and I'll have the same dream. That little piece, he'll let me hear it, and he'll let me see it again. Okay, that part I'm not even worried about, because if I don't get it now, I'll get it at some point, and it's going to be a point where God wants me to remember it, and because that's what God does. He brings things back to you, because at the point in time that you need to remember it, that's why he's bringing it back to you. He'll say, okay, you remember I allowed you to hear this, I allowed you to see this, this is why. And he'll show you why it mattered at the time that you actually heard this conversation, or you were involved in the conversation, or you heard this particular statement made. But if the statement is made and you're present, it was for you to know at that moment. You needed to know that. Okay, so it's important. It's just a matter of fitting the piece to the puzzle, putting it together, right? So anyway, I understand that much about dreams, as I've always been a dreamer since I was probably maybe 3 or 4 years old. My parents actually used me. I would have such vivid dreams that I could remember specifically what happened in the dream. I knew specifically certain things, and I would say, yeah, in my dad would say, "Did you dream?" And I would say, "Yeah, I dreamed this such, 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 such." And then as I got older, I had friends in my life, and my mom could always tell when I was worried about something. I would wake up from my dream, and I would always have a worried, puzzled look on my face. And she would say, "What's bothering you?" And I would say, "Oh man, I slept okay, but I had a dream that disturbed me." I remember the first dream I had, I was 12. That was significant in my life at the time, at the age that I was 12. I was between 11 and 12, elementary school, but I was getting ready to transition over into middle school. We called it junior high back then. But anyway, in the dream, it said, in the dream, God showed me snakes. And my mom always told me, if you see snakes, there are people around you that should not be around you, but you welcome them in, and they are actually in your space, right? So, in my dream, I saw snakes, and Mama said, she always would say, who have you invited in that's new in your life? Because if you didn't see the snakes before, but you're seeing them now, this person is new, you've invited them in, and you don't really know, you can't trust them. So, that's the whole key, is that I've always had dreams. I remember even in my early 20s, I remember being around some friends. These were my sister's family, right? Her child's father's family. And we started going over their house like on the weekend, because the daughter would do my hair. She was really good. She was really young, and she could braid. She could do braids so good. And I was mixing red into my braids even back then. And we're talking about late 90s. I was doing that then. I would put burgundy in my hair, okay? J59 or J99, I'm sorry. That's the color that I actually would mix into my hair, right? And so it might be JJ99. That's the burgundy color that I would mix in with brown or jet black, right? I've always been love wine, the color wine. My car actually is the color of wine, burgundy. And that was not my choosing. The car was actually waiting on me on the car lot, okay? So God actually knew, yeah, this is her color. I'm going to surprise her. And God did. He loved on me just like that. God will love on you like that. When he knows you and you're in connection with God, he will actually allow you to, so he will surprise you with gifts, and he'll know the right color. He'll know how you want it. He'll dress it up in a bow, with the bow that you love, and you'll be like, God, is this you? Like, is this really you? Yeah, God's like, yeah, I'm loving on you right now. And a lot of times when God loves on his children, he's encouraging you, and he wants you to know to keep going, stay strong. And he's also letting you know that he hears your prayers, right? Because this was a prayer that I was praying at the moment. When I did get my car, I was worried, I was stressed, but he had already answered the prayer a year before I had even decided to make the move on what God had presented me, right? It took me a whole year. But my daughter, she is blessed and gifted, I would say. And she said, I know that you don't trust this, but I'm going to put this in the Bible. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. She said, I'm going to put this in the Bible because you may have to come back to it. She said, let's just hold on to it. Let's just keep it. And she put it in the Bible, but she put it in a book that I absolutely love, which is a prophet, Isaiah. Okay, I did not know that she put it in Isaiah. I don't even know if she intended to put it in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, but we know Isaiah was a prophet. Sure enough, he would be called a major prophet. They have minor prophets in the Bible, and then they have major prophets in the Bible. But anyway, getting back to my dream, in my early 20s, I met a guy, and he was so handsome. He was what I would deem my perfect mate, right? Or someone that I would be sure enough attracted to. He was tall. He was, the skin would be what I would have desired. absolutely. And then he would have been adored by so many women, of course. That would have to be my taste too. But anyway, he was the type of go on around me, go on. He would be the type of person that would grab my attention, but honestly, I must have grabbed his attention, so he paid attention to me. But it could have been a setup, because he just all of a sudden just started coming around. Now the whole time I'm getting my hair done, I had been getting my hair done by this young girl for a good over year or 2 years. She had been doing my hair. She was just good with braids. She was bad with braids. She was cold, and she was number like 15 years old, but she was cold. And I've met a lot of young girls down south that's good like that, right? So anyway, he started coming around, and when he saw me, boom, he's coming around even more. So he's talking to me as I'm getting my hair done. He's like, you got a lot of hair. He's watching, he's looking at my features, I'm looking at his features, I'm paying attention to, he's being observant to me, I'm being observant to him. We're both monitoring each other, but I notice the attraction, or I notice the getting closer to me as he's talking to me, right? So I understand next what's getting ready to take place. He's going to ask for your number. So this is what happened. And it was just friendship. It was not a, oh, I really like you. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Are you interested in me? It wasn't nothing like that. It was, okay, yeah, I'll get to know you. Yeah, you can have my number. Absolutely, you can have my number. So we began to talk. And my very first questions would always be, are you in a relationship? Who are you connected with right now? Women, I'm going to say this, men are hip to you asking these type of questions. So don't think when you ask this type of question, you got to stop right there. No, ma'am, you got to keep going. You got to dig a little deeper, because they're very, conscious or aware of you asking these questions nowadays, right? So if they want to be slick, that ain't enough. That's not gonna cut it. You asking him, is he in a relationship? Is he involved, honey? There's ways to answer that without giving you a real honest answer. But he'll say, that's about as honest as that I was willing to give you at the time that you asked me, right? Or they'll say, you know, I don't really like to, expose my relationship matters, but you know, I'll share with you a little bit. You know, it's kind of like dancing around the question, but instead of just giving me a straight up answer, yes, I'm in a relationship. No, I'm not in a relationship. Okay. This guy was not just in a relationship. Okay. But I'm going to go back to the dream. So weeks have gone by. This guy decides he's going to call me. Are you going to such and such house? If so, I'm going to be there. I'm going to meet you there. We're talking, and I notice people are around him, but he's kind of like jumping on the phone, jumping off the phone. I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is when the senses start to kick in. Like, what's happening? Like, who is he around? Like, what's really going on? But he was being so careful with me not to allow me to hear everything, right? So I'm already knowing, girl, you're gonna have to ask more questions, because this guy obviously is not giving it to you like you really, really need to be giving it. Okay, like he needs to be giving it. So anyway, I'm at my mom's house. I take a nap. I wake up. My mom's sitting on the couch. She's looking at me. And she knew I was a dreamer. She would say, you have an uncle that's just like that. She would say, oh, you just like your uncle such and such, such and such. He used to do that. You know, he was a dreamer. He was a dreamer in the family. She would always reference him. I was not close to this uncle. And he always seemed a little standoffish in the family to me, but he's one of the younger brothers. But anywho, getting back to the dream, I'm sorry, I just keep like shifting in and out. Getting back to the dream was so important. My mom looked at my face. She knew I had a worried look, but I'm standing in the mirror. I'm looking at my braids, but I got a puzzled look on my face. She asked, what's wrong? And I said, I had the most disturbing dream ever. I don't like snakes. I don't even like cartoon snakes, okay? I don't want to see a snake in my dream, and I don't care how beautified it's made up or how pretty it looks. I don't care. I don't want to see it. In my dream, this snake was pretty ocean blue. This is a color that I would be drawn to and attracted to. Catch the words, catch the adjectives that I'm using. This snake would be a snake. The color of it is the color that I would be most attracted to. Not only that, he stood up over me and he was very tall. So the snake stood up over me. And y'all know what that means. When a snake stands up over you, you know the stance of a snake when it gets ready to raise up and it's getting ready to stand up over you. You know what's getting ready to happen, right? In other words, he was so close. Now, once my mom made me realize what was going on in my life, then I could interpret from that point what was getting ready to take place. But I did not realize I had let him in a little too close. I had let this guy in a little too close. I was starting to get feelings for him, and I was getting ready to start to let him into my world. But God was like, not so. God immediately stopped this, right? God was like, oh no. So my mom, she could interpret dreams very well. She's always been like this. I've always known this. There's not been a time in my life that I could not tell her a dream and she could not interpret it for me, right? Known this from a little girl. Anyway, she said, what was disturbing about the dream? And I said, it's the fact that he was pretty. I said, I don't like snakes, and I don't even like cartoon snakes, so I would never ever call a snake pretty. I said, this snake was beautiful, and it was ocean blue. It was so pretty, and he was swirling around, and he was so pretty. I didn't even understand why I would be using adjectives. Oh, he was so pretty. He was beautiful. And she said, well, who's in your life that you've allowed in your life? Who's come into your life that's new? And I stopped. I said, I have met a guy. I said, he's very attractive. And she said, I said, yeah, I've met someone and he's very attractive, but I don't know much about him, and I've not gotten really connected with him, but we're just talking right now. And I said, it's so weird. I said, because he's so attractive, but I can't really figure him out. And I said, he's perfect to me. And he's very tall. He's very handsome. And she said, well, there you go. And she didn't have to say anything else because she already knew that I was putting it together in my head. And I stopped and I looked in the mirror. But so, you know, you can look in the mirror and look behind you and see the person looking at you, because they realize that you're catching on very quick. And I did. I caught on. But I didn't know how God was going to show me that this person was no good for me and meant me harm, did not mean me any good. So I would have never thought this about this guy. But as time went on, I think I was getting ready to go get my hair done again, and the cousin said, so have you talked to such 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 such? I said, yeah, we've been talking. Oh, do you know about his wife? You know he's married, right? What? I'm like, and I'm in my early 20s, y'all. I've never played with married men. I've never tampered with a married man like that. In my early 20s, I don't care if I was young. A lot of young girls say, oh, I was young, dumb, and stupid. No, baby, I never messed around with married men. And there's a story even behind that, and why I never tap dance with even the thought of messing with a married man. Why I never played with it, because I understood spiritually some stuff can happen to you that you would wish would never happen to you. I know people that have gotten cancer behind messing with married men. I know women that have gotten sick, and I know that they wished that they had never messed with the married man. Matter of fact, I have a family member who passed away. Something happened with her blood and the doctor could never find out. something got in her blood. We don't even know how it got in her blood, but she visited the hospital, and then I had another auntie that was saying, what did y'all do to my baby sister? But it wasn't what the doctors and them had done. It was what she had done to herself spiritually. She had gotten connected with someone that was not hers, that did not belong to her. This is why I say be careful about the life you live and stepping over into things that you know not of, because karma can bite you and you don't know how it's coming. That karma could come and take over your life. And she lived her last days in misery because the sickness had come on to her, and she could not get a handle on what had taken place, because not only did she not just date a married man, but she married a married man. So now you've taken on a covenant of someone else's husband. You've connected and covenanted with someone else's husband. So that's a contract, and that's a spiritual contract, and you do not want to ever play with spiritual contracts. Y'all better hear me when I say this. Do not play with your life like this. Do not. So because as a young girl, so many different things that I was able to see, I was aware of. Spiritually, I was aware of a lot of things. God allowed me to see it at a young age. I already knew 1 + 2 = 3, 3 + 4 equals, you know, and so forth and so on. Another 3 + 1 = 4, 4 + 1 = 5, and keep going until you get to the end. And 10 is actually the completed number, right? So anyway, after I heard that he was married, of course, I've never been the type of chick that say I'm not gonna confront this man. I've never been scared. Never. If I'm bold enough to talk to a man, I need to be bold enough to confront this man. Not confront him in a way to where you know, I feel like I'm putting him in a corner where he may get afraid and he don't want to tell the truth. I'm gonna always make it comfortable for you to tell me the truth, because it's your life, it's not mine. So why would you ever be afraid to tell me the truth? So I would always make it so comfortable to where you would just easily want to go on and tell me the truth. I would never make it hard for you. Just because people need to know that if you tell the truth, give that person an option to be able to say, yeah, I'll deal with it, or no, I believe I'm gonna walk away. Don't ever push a person in a corner to where they have to, you're forcing them to have to choose. Or you're forcing them to agree to something that they would never agree to, or you didn't even find out if they would agree to it. You didn't give them an option. You just put them in a corner and said, here, you're gonna take this. I'm gonna force you to deal with it. Because they're miserable, you're gonna be miserable too, right? Anyway, this video is getting really, really long. I didn't realize it was. I didn't even know I was gonna be talking about dreams. But thank God that I had the dream, because now I can kind of share my life with you guys. But anyway, I did confront him in a subtle way. I did ask him, was he married? And he said yes. And I said, you know, do you have children? Yeah, I think he had 4 kids with his wife. So he had a big family. He didn't have time to be playing around with me. Sir, you have family. You have a big family. You got kids you need to be concerned about. Your time and attention needs to go to your children and your wife. No woman should ever get more time than your wife. And if you're stealing time away to come and meet me, and you're not telling her the truth, then you're cheating her and you're cheating yourself. Okay? I should never get more time than the wife. A side chick should never get more time than the wife. And if you've prioritized giving the side chick more time than the wife, then it's time for you to make a decision. Okay? That means your heart is no longer aligned with your wife. That means that this side chick some kind of way have maneuvered her way into your life. She's a manipulator. She's a deceiver. She's very cunning, and she's conned her way into your life. Now, whatever game you spit to her, whatever you did to get her to come all the way in, to be a part of your game, your setup, your plans, you got her to agree to it. Whatever you did, that manipulation will always come back to bite you in the tail. And you will find out that you will end up losing more than you gained. A lot of men, you'll hear them say, I would have been better off staying right where I was. And it's true. You'd have been better off fighting it out with your wife and coming to a conclusion and finding solutions than bringing another person in that's a stranger who would never understand it, would not even really accept your kids, because women will pretend as though they're cool with your kids and they love your kids. Or no woman could ever love another woman's kids than the mama. And she could pretend all day long and say, oh, honey, I did love those kids more. I did more for those kids. You don't know what you've done, because you're only going by what he's told you, and you've not witnessed it for yourself. So you're speaking on in a third party situation, but you're speaking on a situation you're on the outside looking in, but you're not in, you're out. You're on the outside. So it's easy for somebody to come up with a conclusion that you're better than, you're more than, you've done more. That's what he told you. But it's always good to find out the truth. I would never put myself before a wife, and I would never come between a husband and a wife. I immediately dropped him off right where I left him. Okay, right where I found him, I dropped him right back off. I said, there's no reason for you to come and come and see me. There's no reason for you to leave home, leave your children, just to come over here to see me, because I won't ever give you that time. I won't ever give you that amount of time to steal away from your wife. I won't ever connect myself with a man like that. That's lied, that's cheated. And we hadn't even connected yet. But it's the thought, the intention that he had behind betraying his wife. And he was going to be betraying me too, because he had never intended to tell the truth. Unless I asked him, I would have never known. Y'all, women, don't ever be afraid to confront that man. If y'all scared to confront a man and find out the truth, then you ain't mature enough to even handle a relationship. You're not mature enough. You're not ready for a relationship. You're not ready for a man, and you're definitely not ready for marriage. You can forget that, because you need to always not be confrontational, but you should never ever be fearful of that man. If you're afraid of that man, you're afraid to he would lose attraction, or he would lose interest in you just because you asked him questions. You ain't ready. Girl, you ain't mature. You ain't no grown woman. A grown woman would never be afraid. No, ma'am. Anyway, so I'm not going to pounce on outside side chicks. I'm not going to pounce on them. Because wives, there's a point of time in your relationship, in your marriage, that God will show you some signs that this man is stepping out. And you can ignore it if you want to, baby. But I'm going to tell you something. You let this snake sneak up on you in your home. You let this outside person that feel like she got the upper hand up on your husband and your marriage. You let her slickly, snidely slide her way up into your marriage, and you'll wish that you never allowed it to happen. And at that point, he has to know, either you're going to be for real about this and my life, because now my life is in danger, because I don't know if this fool crazy. I don't know if she mentally crazy. I don't know if she been Baker acted. I don't know if somebody that actually put out, we don't know where she come from. But the fact that you're willing to allow a stranger to come into our marriage and in our home, you don't know this lady, you've never met her before, but all of a sudden here she comes. Oh, you better know it's a trap, sir. Yes, sir, you better know this is a trap. And you better quickly walk away. I'm gonna tell you. You better quickly walk away. So anyway, yes, I walked away. I left this guy alone. Does this happen a lot? It happens a lot. Wives, I want you to know that yes, these men have a hard time. I'm gonna say it like that, and I'm not going no further into it, because your relationship with God should matter. You took a covenant with you, God, and this man. You better include God into it. God will always have your back. God will always have the wife back. He will always have your back. God will never leave you. He's not going to leave you ignorant to Satan's devices. That's in the Word of God. I will not have you. I will not have you ignorant to Satan's devices. Okay? So get in your word, get a relationship with God, and I'm talking about you better show enough. If you're a wife, God needs to be at the top, baby. You need to be seeking him early in the morning. You need to be up. You'll be laying in that bed talking about I'm waiting on this man. Girl, if he's not performing up to the standard that you feel he should, you need to be on your knees seeking out God. Because something's going on, baby. A man will never, if he really sure enough love you, he'll never prioritize anybody else before you. Never, okay? And there are some side chicks that get treated way better than the wives. I've seen it. I know this to be true because I've seen it. I have seen women take on the attitude, I don't owe her nothing because she's not my wife. She's his wife, okay? Y'all be blessed. I'm going to go ahead and get off. I'll be coming back on talking more about relationships and things like that. I'm sure there's going to be conversation about this. Like, share, and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You have a great rest of your Saturday. Be blessed.